Today we're going to learn all about winter in this 3-video compilation, starting with snow.
So here's what happens when it snows. Snow is created when water vapor travels from the ground level of Earth's atmosphere to form in clouds all year long, no matter how hot or cold it may be.
You see, when the Earth's surface and the atmosphere are both cold, that water vapor turns into tiny little ice crystals.
But it doesn't stop there, because then the tiny ice crystals gather in teeny pieces of dirt that are also floating in the atmosphere.
And sometimes there are as many as 200 ice crystals that get clumped together to make just one single snowflake. Wow.
So that was a lot to think about. So you might still be asking, but wait, what are snowflakes really made of?
Like we just said, snowflakes are actually made of tiny ice crystals that begin from tiny pieces of dirt in the air.
Dirt? Snowflakes taste like dirt?
No, it doesn't taste like dirt,
It
Gus.
makes no sense. It makes no sense.
The ice crystals can stay up in the clouds, or if they are heavy enough, they will then fall to the ground.
But in order for it to actually snow, the temperature must be below 32 degrees.
Now, you may have heard that no two snowflakes are the same exact shape.
That is because the way the ice crystals join together gives every snowflake its own unique design.
And even though they all look different, most snowflakes have 6 points or 6 sides.
Snowflakes actually form 7 basic shapes. They are stars, needles, dendrites, which means they have branches, also plates, columns topped with plates, and irregular snowflakes, which means they're damaged.
The shape of a snowflake happens based on the temperature and the amount of moisture in the cloud that it started in.
Hey, guess what? Did you know that snow is one of the 6 main types of precipitation?
Lake effect snow happens when a cold air mass moves across a large body of warm water that is not frozen.
The water vapor from the warmer lake is sucked up into the cold air mass, and then it freezes and then falls back down as snow.
Have you ever heard snow called powder or powdery snow? This is when the snow is light and fluffy.
Hey, guess what? Did you know that snow is not really white?
What?
Snow actually doesn't have any color.
What? What? It looks white to me! It does?
Keep watching and we'll find out.
I hope so. Get your dad to tell us.
Snow actually looks white because of the reflection from the sun, even when there is no sun shining.
So, why do some places get more snow than others?
Some places get more snow because the air is colder for longer periods of time.
There is also more water vapor in the air than there is in other places too.
We all know that snow is fun to play in, but what does snow do for us?
It's not just about making snowmen, building forts, and having snowball fights.
That's right, Cadence. Believe it or not, snow waters the ground during the winter like rain does in the spring or summer.
And snow also makes it possible for animals like polar bears, some penguins, and other Arctic animals to survive.
When we have a really heavy snowfall, that's called a snowstorm.
Billions of snowflakes fall during every single snowstorm.
And usually there are about 100 snowstorms every year that happen in the United States.
and heavy snowfalls that also have winds that blow over 35 miles per hour, those are called blizzards.
Did you know that sometimes there are thunderstorms that happen in the winter? And this is called thunder snow.
Thunder snow
Thunder snow?
is a snowstorm that actually has thunder, lightning, and very strong winds.
Thunder lightning? You mean thunder and lightning?
Thunder and lightning.
Oh, you said thunder lightning. That sounds like a heavy metal man.
Hey, guess what? Did you know that almost 80% of the world's fresh water comes from snow and ice?
Here are a few other cool facts that happen because of snow.
The largest snowman ever built was built in Maine in the year 2008. It was 122 feet tall.
On March 5th in 2015, 101 inches of snow fell in Capricorn, Italy. This was the record anywhere for a 24-hour period.
Wow, that's a lot of snow in 24 hours. But the record for the most snowfall in 1 year goes to Mount Rainier in the state of Washington, located in the United States of America.
Between 1971 to 1972, 102 feet of snow fell in a 365-day period.
And ready for our last fact of this video? This one is crazy. The world's largest snowflake was 15 inches wide and it was 8 inches thick. That is a huge snowflake.
Well, hey, guess what? Now we all know a little bit more about snow.
And let's continue with this one all about winter.
Girls, I woke up super early this morning, and you know what I saw all over the ground? Ice.
Was it on the street?
Actually, no. It was all over the plants and all over the grass.
Gus, that's frost. It happens when it's cold outside because winter is coming.
Winter? Didn't we just finish summer?
Well, first it's summer, then it's fall, and then it's winter.
Oh, how many seasons are there? What's winter?
Let's just learn about winter.
Good idea.
Winter is one of the 4 seasons, which are winter, spring, summer, and fall, or otherwise known as autumn.
Winter is the season that comes after autumn and before spring.
And the winter season happens during 4 months of the year, but it depends on where you are in the world.
In the northern hemisphere, winter starts at the end of December and goes through the end of March. But in the southern hemisphere, winter happens in June, July, and August.
And the word winter comes from an old Germanic word that means time of water.
Winter is what starts the winter solstice.
In the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice usually happens on December 21st or December 22nd. And in the southern hemisphere, which means it's below the equator, the winter solstice happens on June 21st or June 22nd.
This happens because the southern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun.
And you see, the northern hemisphere faces the sun more directly due to the Earth's axis.
The Earth circles or orbits around the sun.
And it takes a full year, or 365 days, for the Earth to make its trip around the sun.
And you may notice that during winter, the days are shorter and the nights are longer.
And the shortest day of the year is the day of the winter solstice.
The day is actually not shorter, but that day has the shortest hours of daylight.
And no matter where you are in the world, if you're in the northern or the southern hemisphere, winter is always the coldest time of the year.
Which is why, when we think of winter, we think of warm clothing, snow, and of course Christmas and the holiday season.
I don't have clothes. I just wear this furry face all year.
That's okay, Gus. It actually looks like it's kind of comfortable, actually. But did you know that the Earth is actually closest to the Sun right after New Year's Day?
It is the closest to the sun between January 3rd and January 5th.
And even though it's the closest to the Sun then, it doesn't feel warm because the Earth is actually tilted away from the Sun at that time.
So, what happens in winter?
Good question, Quinn. Well, first, some animals like bears and chipmunks hibernate in the winter.
Hibernate means to stay inside somewhere hidden and sleep or rest for most of the winter.
Is that why you guys always put me in a drawer?
That's the only place you could sleep.
Okay.
And unlike summer and the springtime, you also may notice that many of the trees look bare. All the leaves have already fallen except for evergreen trees and some evergreen bushes.
Of course, people stay inside more than they do during the spring and summer because it is cold outside and gets dark much earlier.
And besides snow, there's also wind chill that can cause lots of problems during the winter time too.
Wind chill is the combination of wind and temperature and is based on the rate of heat loss from exposed skin.
And this is also because of the ice, sleet, hail, and freezing rain that happens during winter. And of course, we can't forget about snow.
Hey, guess what? Snow is clear, but it appears white because of the way that light shines off ice crystals.
The ice that I saw on the grass today looked white. I bet it's for the same reason.
Yeah,
And even though snowflakes are unique, they all have 5 to 6 sides.
but why does this happen?
That's a very good question, Quinn. And the reason why snow looks white is because when the temperature in the clouds is very cold, the water vapors in the clouds freeze and form crystals of ice. Then, snowflakes are made from the crystals of ice that form from small pieces of dirt in the air, believe it or not.
Hey, guess what? Did you know that each snowflake could have as many as 200 crystals in them? Whoa!
That's right, Gus. And just like you, me, and everyone else, every snowflake is completely different. No two are ever alike.
Snowflakes collect on top of each other and squeeze out the air from the middle of the flakes and pack together.
Wow, this is a really cool fact. Did you know that the world's largest snowflake was measured at 15 inches across and 8 inches thick? Wow. And the most snowfall in 1 year was recorded in Mount Rainier, Washington.
From 1971 to 1972, 102 feet of snow fell in 1 year period. Wow.
And the most snow in 24 hours was recorded at Silver Lake, Colorado, in the United States of America, with 76 inches in 1921.
And are you ready for the final fact? The coldest temperature ever recorded was at Vostok Station in Antarctica in 1983. The temperature dropped to negative 123 degrees. That is cold.
Well, hey, guess what? Now we know all about winter and a little bit more about snow.
And for the final video in this compilation, let's learn all about glaciers.
You know what? That was a pretty cool trip to the glacier.
Cool! I heard it was freezing!
Yeah, it was pretty fun, but still kind of cold.
Why don't you guys warm up before we start the video?
A few minutes later.
Wow, that was quick. You guys feel better?
A lot better. I feel warm now.
Good.
I'm okay, but my feet are still cold. I think I need an extra pair of socks.
Oh, I can help you with that.
Where did this come from?
Better you don't ask. Let's just start the video.
A glacier is a massive body of ice and snow.
Glaciers form over many years as snow and ice build up quicker than it is removed.
And every single winter, more snow is added to that glacier.
And the weight of this snow creates pressure, which turns the snow that is underneath into layers of ice.
And this happens for many years, and the glacier starts growing larger and larger and larger.
It becomes so heavy that the ice begins to move very slowly downwards like water due to gravity.
In fact, a glacier only moves about 160 feet every single year.
Then, new snow replaces the parts that float away.
The actual word glacier comes from the Latin word glacies, which means ice.
Glaciers are very important and have a large effect on our environment because when they move, they erode mountains as well as land.
Most glaciers can be found near the North or South Poles, but glaciers also exist high up in mountains like the Himalayas and the Andes.
But glaciers can only form in places that are cold enough and get enough snow over long periods of time.
That's right, Cadence. In fact, glaciers can be found in mountain ranges on every continent except Australia.
There are two different kinds of glaciers, continental glaciers and alpine glaciers.
Alpine glaciers are also called mountain glaciers.
Alpine glaciers form on mountainsides and move downward through valleys, and they are smaller than continental glaciers, which we'll learn about in a moment.
Alpine glaciers move until they enter a point where the temperature is warm, and then the ice melts during the nice, warm, hot summer weather.
Continental glaciers are glaciers that spread out over a large area of land.
Some continental glaciers can still be found in Greenland and Antarctica. And hey, guess what? Many glaciers were created during the last ice age, where these glaciers covered 32% of our planet Earth.
Now, glaciers cover about 10% of the Earth's surface, which is still over 5.8 million square miles.
That's still pretty big. Good job.
Have you ever gotten really thirsty and wanted a cold glass of water? Well, glaciers are where 75% of all of Earth's fresh water comes from.
Scientists believe that if all the glaciers melted, our oceans would rise by 230 feet.
In a way, that sounds cool, But that's actually terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of water.
Most of the country of Greenland is covered with an enormous ice cap that is almost 2 miles thick in some areas.
Wow. There are also smaller glaciers in the Rocky Mountains of North America, as well as in the European Alps, the Andes of South America, and even at some mountainous points along the equator.
We've talked about how there's ice on a glacier. Well, that ice is called glacial ice.
Glacial ice can be hundreds of thousands of years old, which makes it an important resource for estimating changes in climate.
That's right again, Cadence, and by extracting and then examining the ice, scientists can study what the climate was like on Earth thousands and thousands of years ago.
A scientist who studies glaciers is called a glaciologist, and they have given the names to all the different types of glaciers.
And here are a few of the main types that glaciologists have named: calving, a cirque, hanging, ice cap, ice field, Piedmont, polar, temperate, and valley glaciers.
Hey, guess what? The world's largest glacier is the Lambert-Fisher Glacier in Antarctica. It is approximately 250 miles long and 60 miles wide. Wow!
And at over 125 miles long, the Bering Glacier in Alaska is the longest glacier in the United States of America.
Believe it or not, even tiny glaciers are still the size of a football field.
That's pretty big for something that's considered tiny.
And did you know that even though most glaciers move very slow, the Kusha Glacier in Pakistan once moved more than 7 miles in 3 months during 1953. You should have moved.
And did you know that if you look at a glacier's ice, it sometimes looks blue? And this is because glacial ice is so dense and compact, it can look bright blue.
Well, hey, guess what? Now we all know a little bit more about glaciers.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. It really helps out our channel.
Sure does.
Make sure to subscribe.
Bye!